What's up, guys?
How challenging has it been this year for your D-line room and your coaching staff, just kind of all the injuries and kind of guys always filling in and moving around?
No, it's the same. The season's exhausting whether you're healthy or not. But a lot of guys have stepped up to the opportunity, and there's been an extreme amount of growth over the past year, especially with a lot of guys, like I said, getting new opportunity or unexpected opportunity. But got a long way to go. We're only halfway through, and it's really just more opportunities for guys to continue to show that they belong in the league.
How valuable is it to have Bryce Huff come back right before this LA Rams divisional matchup?
Always, Bryce is a closer. When you're sitting there in the fourth quarter and you need to play, and you need it now, and the speed at which he can do it, having guys like that are invaluable.
You have guys like Siegel and West who are getting some reps early in the year, and then injured guys come back and they're not getting as many. What's your kind of message to them in terms of what you want them to take away from the time that they did play, and then now when they're maybe kind of waiting their next opportunity?
Yeah, they've got to be deliberate in everything they do. They've got some game time experience. Now it's working with the show team and making sure they're being deliberate with their techniques, their fundamentals, taking advantage of every rep in individual drills throughout practice, their one-on-ones, the reps that they do get in team, so they're not just on the bench, they're still getting those reps. And those are special teams locking in on that and making sure that they're being deliberate in that regard. But, their job is to be a pro regardless of whether they're playing or not, and to continually put themselves in position to be available and effective when their time comes up again.
Can that be helpful for them to maybe take a little step? I talk about the rookie wall and things like that. Can they take a little step back and review what they did, actually having those reps, and then?
I think it's valuable. They've got the experience of playing in a few games, and now they can see another guy go and do it, especially if it's a veteran who knows how to play the game. Sometimes it's not helpful, but in this case, I do think it is beneficial for those guys.
What makes Matthew Stafford a big challenge compared to other elite quarterbacks?
Man, I mean, he still slings it his arm talent is still ridiculous. He sees the game extremely well. He's decisive. He doesn't turn the ball over. He hardly puts it in harm's way. He's just a challenge. He's a coach on the field who happens to be able to throw a football at a pretty elite clip. So he's a challenge, and then you mix it in with their scheme and the way the weapons he has from the back to his receiving core, and then Sean and the way they call it. It just makes it a tremendous challenge all the way across the board.
This defense in years past has obviously had a big vocal leader in Fred. There's been enforcers like Dre. Without those guys here, who kind of steps or who's surfacing in those roles that you're kind of seeing?
That's the exciting part. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. When we were here at 17 and 18, I was like, well, who's going to be next? I mean, you saw this little skinny linebacker named Fred Warner. No one expected it to be him, and Jimmy Ward and Tart and Buckner and Armstead. All those guys were so young. K'Wan Williams was young, and they all rose to the occasion and made a name for themselves. So this group, being as young as it is, I wish I could tell you. I have an idea. But I'm excited for everybody to take advantage of their opportunity and to evolve into the player that we all know they're capable of.
Would Fred be offended if he heard you call him skinny?
He was tiny. Go watch that first clip of his rookie year. He looked like a safety playing middle linebacker.
It's talked a lot about. Sorry.
What's the balance you have to find between what you did in Houston with a lot of blitzes, and you've got a young defense, and kind of what you did last week versus New York?
Every game plan's different. We tried to be aggressive with Houston, and it didn't quite work out. And we tried to do our best to make the rookie play quarterback, and it worked out. And like I said, some days will be good, some days not so much. And this game plan is going to be specific to the Rams and Stafford and what we got to get done in that regard. But and they're going to challenge you. Schematically, they're a tremendous challenge. It's a big time cat and mouse game. But we're going to do the best we can to put together the best game plan for that particular team, but also always toe the line of what our guys are capable of executing, and then we're going to roll it out on Sunday and evaluate on Monday.
Not that long ago. Go ahead, Jim. You've seen them develop and kind of take on those roles where it's different stuff that they have to do out there more.
Yeah, you're like I said, we're always going to push the envelope. Like I said, I wish I can get Houston back because I felt like I probably nudged it a little bit too far. Last week, I thought they did a great job executing the defense. Up until those last two drives, I thought we played a really solid game, clean game. You know, and this week it's no different. You know, you're going to try to push the envelope, but always try to find balance. And like I said, we as a coaching staff are learning our players; they're learning us, and I think that evolution. It's, you know, like we talked about today. The objective is to continually get better and to master our techniques and be deliberate in everything we do. And you know, we don't do a lot, and because we don't do a lot, we can focus more on our technique and fundamentals. And usually at the end of the year, that's what takes over in the league, in my opinion, is the people who can execute the best, play fundamentally sound the best, and play the fastest are usually the ones who are surging towards the end of the year, and that's what our goal is.
That environment that you just described with the team that you have so much familiarity with, how much, and you talked about the cat and mouse game, how much can you maybe over second guess what they're doing and just have to go out and do what you do?
Like, hey, they know we know that they know that. No, there's definitely like, God, we've done that before, or is there, you know, there's, but which is why division games are so cool, because you know each other, and so it comes down to technique and execution. Players know players, O linemen know D linemen, vice versa. It's just it always comes down to execution.
Robert, the Rams are using a lot of 13 personnel and probably to try to run the ball. What does it look like? And, you know, without giving away the game plan, I mean, how do you match up with the bigger bodies?
We feel like we match up pretty well against any personnel grouping we get. We can get big if we need to. We can get small if we need to. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more 12 personnel with Puka coming back healthy. So we'll be prepared for all of it. I know they've done a lot more 13 personnel, and I think it's kind of been out of necessity because of the injuries they've had at receiver. But with a couple of guys coming back, we could very well see a heavy dosage of 12. But whatever they roll out, we were expecting 12 last week, and all they did was run 11, and so you roll with the punches that you're getting on game day.
How Green improved since OTAs, and how well is he playing right now?
He's had a really good last 2 or 3 weeks where he's really taken a big step. You know, he missed some time in training camp, so I think he kind of got off to a slow start. But he's been deliberate. He's been working. I'm excited about the trajectory that Renardo's on for sure.
Special teams is pretty much been improved here this year in the last few weeks, especially. Kyle's talked about how proud he was of that. You work with Blair in New York. What is he good at? How does he mobilize the special teams unit, which are pretty disparate little different groups that they have to have up?
Yeah, no, Brent's been in this league a long time, and I'd be lying if I knew anything about him when I got to the Jets, but I feel like I got a million phone calls talking about how great this guy was, and he's pretty good. So he's detailed in how he approaches the game. He's his film study and his game plans and his schemes are, while like he's a guy that definitely from a special team standpoint will push the envelope in terms of scheme and technique, and once those guys get it, I feel like we're at a schematic advantage with him and how he does things, and you know, it's he's pretty fun to watch from a meeting standpoint, funny too, but when it comes to being detailed and making sure that everybody knows exactly what's being asked of him and how to do it, he's as good as they get.
Can you help along the development of a player like Keon White,
I'll get you.
who this is his 4th coaching staff in 3 seasons, was a young guy with a lot of potential. He was drafted in the 2nd round, but has really not been able to have like continuity. How do you help along his development?
And which player? I'm sorry.
Keon White.
Keon, you know what? Everyone's a little bit different. You know, with Keon, you know, it reminds me of someone like Quincy Williams, who we had at the Jets. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Jaguars. Didn't quite work out. Cut after the 2nd year. We get our hands on him, and he's all pro, an all pro linebacker. Which credit to him and the work he put in. And so sometimes it just takes being in the right situation with the right staff, and it's not one staff being better than the other. It's just a matter of just that connection. And so with Keon being in this situation, we feel great about his skill set. We know exactly what that skill set looks like and how it fits for us and what we do. And I know he's excited about it. And I think with everyone being so excited about what he's capable of, I feel like whatever he's capable of in the NFL, I think he's going to be able to show it here.
Watching Mike Hill kind of grow throughout the season, Kyle Shanahan on Monday kind of spoke about how much growth he was kind of getting to and now it's kind of sad that he won't be able to, see that through. Have you had conversations with Michael about, how this could impact his career and what to do to respond? And if so, how have those conversations gone?
Not yet, but once he's done through his process of getting the surgery and getting back into rehab and all that, and I get a chance to sit down with him, it's definitely something that I'll have a conversation with him on. The good news, but bad news is he's also got players like Nick Bosa to lean on who are going through the same thing that he is with regards to recovery. He has Mustafa from last year going through that recovery. The good news for Michael, he's built the right way. He's made of the right stuff. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to come back next year as good as he was this year and continue to improve as he develops as a player. All right, thank you guys.
I'm good. All right.
Getting ready for Head Knocker 2.0. The first game was a true Head Knocker. You guys couldn't run it, but stayed with the run, and it was like 2.2 a carry, but over 30 carries.
Yeah, that was, I think we had like 88 plays in the game. When we have that many plays and it was like 33 runs, it's just because we were able to stay on the field, convert third downs. We weren't getting a lot out of the runs, but we were able to keep calling them, and that's kind of why we were able to do that. But expect the same kind of game. These guys, we're going to have to, stay on the field and keep a really explosive offense off the field as best we can and score points. So however it shapes out, though, however it goes, we'll be ready. So, yeah, hope it's that kind of game again.
How much are you thinking about putting together long drives when you're facing a quarterback like that?
It's not really conscious. You'd love to score on 2 or 3. You'd love to hit explosives and be off the field, but it's definitely not a conscious thing for sure. You're not thinking about that, but it's just kind of how things have gone this year too. We haven't had a ton of big explosives to score fast, but if we're staying on the field, converting third down, that's going to help our defense. It's good for us. So.
Also, Brian Robinson been with his role. I mean, he's not obviously Christian's going to get the bulk of the work. Brian has never had this few carries at this point in the season before, and he's even returning kicks, which he's never done before. So how has he helped? How has he been through all that?
He's been awesome. Brian's a pro, and he's been nothing but a great teammate, a humble leader for our guys in the locker room, and when he's getting his opportunities, he stepped up and played really well. I was really happy for him on Sunday that he actually got to kind of see the benefits of that, getting in the end zone. He's had 2 big kick returns 2 weeks in a row. Brian is ready when his number's called. And that's what a pro is. And I'm sure for him he'd love to be out there more, but he knows Christian's our number 1 back, and he's gone in there and played good. And Brian just keeps staying ready. His time, if the time comes and Christian's got to come out or whatever he needs, he's ready to step up. And so, real happy with Brian. Real happy he's part of our team. He's been a great teammate.
He was running as strong as he has all year. I mean, it has the limited amount of carries kept him pretty fresh. I mean,
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's fresh. He practices really well, and you can see he's ready. He's fresh. That's the kind of runner he is, though. I think he also is getting more comfortable with our offense week to week. He's very comfortable, but just seeing the holes, knowing his tracks a little bit more confidently. Probably playing a little bit more fast because of that. But he just gets better every week. So we love where he's at.
You've been around Christian as long as you have now. What have you observed about him that makes him such a good pass catcher out of the backfield and route runner?
I mean, it just starts with his attention to detail. The way he approaches route running, it's very much like a receiver. He has a plan on every route, how he's going to get open. He's one of those guys who is incredibly instinctual once the ball touches his hands. He knows how to drop step, how to turn and get yak. I mean, he's got great hands to do that. He can catch it and get vertical. And he's a guy who really studies route running, and he thinks about the route, and he's not just going out there and doing what's on paper. He has a plan. So it comes down to his preparation and how much he works at it. And this just makes him a really unique talent for us out of the backfield.
Do you think when you watch the tape in that regard where you're like, I've never seen a running back do this before, like do you find yourself saying, like, this is different?
Yeah, I think he's different from most guys. I mean, obviously he is. There's been I've seen great backs, great route runners, and guys who can do a lot of stuff. But Christian just his consistency with it, and the way he can just do it every week, and then the way he can do simple things really effectively too, where he's just running a check option over the ball, which is a really routine thing. But the way he can separate and use his hands and get yak with that stuff, it's really cool.
When you look at how the Rams defend 3rd and long, does that just put more, I don't want to say pressure, but importance on not falling behind the chains on first and second down?
Big time. I think they're number one in the league once the team gets behind the chains of getting off the field. That's every week. You always want to emphasize staying ahead of the chains, but this team, they go into attack mode when it's second long, third and long, and they're really hard to block and they're really hard to sustain drives. So obviously it's every week we go into every week saying we got to get ahead of the chains, we got to be efficient on first, second down, but it's a huge deal with this defense because it's where they thrive when they get you in those situations.
Having another offensive player of the year caliber campaign, he's also getting a lot of touches again.
Yep.
When he enters, this age 29, he's getting close to 30. As a running back, was there ever a concern about his workload and trying to lighten it, or if he's healthy, like you're just gonna give him the ball?
I feel like we've talked about this a lot with him, and you got to try to balance it. You have to balance a player who does not want to come off the field and who is our leader and who, is a huge part of our offensive production. Okay, and then you want to balance that out with keeping a guy healthy and taking care of him and getting other guys opportunities. So it's something we're always thinking about, something we're always trying to balance out. But at the end of the day, he's a great player, he's an elite player, and he wants to be on the field. And so it's hard to convince those guys that they need to be out of the game. So, but it's always something that's on our mind, and we just always try to balance it out.
Make an impact even when he doesn't get the ball? Like when he goes in motion, can you see what that does to a defense?
For sure, absolutely. You can see when team plays man what their plans are for Christian. Are they going to double him? Are they going to put a safety on him? It's always something we're paying attention to as we go into games. People's eyes are on him, and you like to see as games go on, how is that affecting the rest of the defense? Does that make them vulnerable somewhere else? So, for sure.
How does Shula use Quentin Lake in this defense?
He's a really smart player. I mean, you can tell they put a lot on him in terms of that nickel position and playing safety and base, and he's all over the field. With all the coverages they play, he's incredibly detailed with his technique, with everything they ask him to do. When he plays man coverage, he's a really good coverage guy. So he's one of the most impressive players we've seen, just in terms of how smart of a player he is, how instinctive he is. And to me, he's one of the leaders of that group, just because he kind of gets things going and he gets guys lined up back there, and he's tough to go against. So.
What led you guys to land on Adrian Martinez as the third quarterback? You guys had Mordecai in at one point, brought in Carter, and then the guys in training camp, they had injuries at the end of camp. Didn't make the team, and then when Brock got hurt, we needed a third guy, and we. He's one who tried out. We were real impressed with him. We loved his preseason tape from this year and the past couple of years, and you don't really know that much about those guys till you get them here and you get to see him in your room. And man, he's been impressive. I mean, we think we got a good one in him. So just happy that we kind of lucked into him.
How did Burford look? I know he gave up the one sack, but overall, how did you grade out his film?
He played good. For the first game back, I thought he played solid. He played very aggressive. And he played fast and he played hard. He didn't play with any hesitation. That was really cool to see. Are there things he can clean up? Yes. Like he's the detail is always something we're working on, but I was really happy with how he came back and the mindset he played with, and just got to keep practicing and keep pushing him, getting better.
Martinez hasn't played much in the NFL. Like, what are his strengths as you guys see it day in, day out in practice?
He's really smart. I think we had a week where Mac was banged up, Brock was obviously banged up, and he took a lot of reps and he didn't miss anything. He was on it. He's a guy who can absorb the game plan and just be comfortable with it without getting a lot of reps. He's a really good athlete, natural thrower. Just kind of things we look for.
Jones has had obviously a really good year. You didn't know him though before he got here.
Mm-hmm.
How impressed are you with his ability to lead on a team where he's not the starting quarterback?
Really impressed. To see a guy comes in here and they're not aggressively leading at first. They're getting to know guys. They're getting a feel for our culture and kind of where his role is. And he did that. He didn't step in and start demanding things, and he wasn't this kind of rah-rah guy. But as he's been on the field more and the way he's played, you can see him he gets more confident around his teammates. His teammates start to kind of take to him more as a leader, and he just kind of has a natural leadership to him. And it comes out in just how he plays. He doesn't force it. So it's been cool to see. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.